¿Qué onda? Thanks for watching Doing Life with Jenny. If you're new here, I'm a Spanish teacher in the US and I'm currently building a house in Mexico in the state of Hidalgo. Today we're talking about people's reactions when I tell them I'm moving to Mexico. Check it out! Okay, let's just get the big one out of the way. Isn't it dangerous there? Are you gonna be safe? Let me give you some data. I live near St. Louis, Missouri in the United States in a town or city called Alton, Illinois. Illinois borders the state of Missouri. It's one of the most dangerous places in the country. In St. Louis, there are 20 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. And in Alton, 43 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. In my state in Mexico, again called Hidalgo, it is 7.8 out of 100,000 residents. Between January of 2009 until May of 2018, there were 288 school shootings in the US, and there were 8 in Mexico, which according to World Population Review, 8 is still high compared to the rest of the globe, but obviously 288 is far greater than 8. I'm going to pop this website up on the screen that I just discovered in making this video. Many states in Mexico has this traffic light system to rate the safety. It breaks it down by auto thefts, homicides, rapes, domestic violence, and you can see the other categories across the screen, but of course they're labeled in Spanish. I'm not going to share the specific name of the city or town that I'll be living in, but it is one of the safer areas. It has a green light when it comes to homicides, which is obviously the most worrisome of the topics there. I have never ever felt unsafe in Mexico, and I've traveled throughout a lot of the country. I have felt unsafe in the US, here in my own backyard. The most recent being when I was walking into Subway, my side hustle, just a couple days ago. A guy in his truck pulled up slowly along me, asking if I wanted a ride somewhere. No, sir, I do not. That has happened to me maybe 3 or 4 times now. Not at Subway, but just in the area in general when I've been walking. When my grandma and I used to live next to each other, I had a man follow me on foot from her house, so I had to stop at the pharmacy and wait for him to disappear before I could go home because I didn't want him to see where I lived. But I have had 0 issues in Mexico. Okay, I'm not naive. I know there are bad things that happen in Mexico. I know it is not one of the most safest countries on the planet. But it just bothers me when people are so quick to judge because the people that make these comments are people that live in my area, and St. Louis is the second most dangerous city in the country. Another comment I get when I say I'm moving to Mexico is, well, won't you miss your family or your friends? This is gonna sound bad, but no, I'm sorry. Let me explain. Don't stop the video there. Let me explain, okay? One, I really don't have many close friends here, partially because I just really don't feel like I belong here. It also has to do with ignoring friends when I'm in relationships. That is 100% my fault. If you are a friend or former friend watching this, I apologize. I 100% know it is my fault that the relationship failed because I always just gravitated towards my boyfriend or, when I had one, husband. Also, most of my friends here in the States are married with kids. From their perspective, it's probably like, well, Jenny started ignoring me once I had a family. From mine, it's like, oh, they have a family, they're probably too busy, I'm just going to be bothering them. I know it is my fault 100%. Otherwise, I feel like I don't connect with people. There's just not much in common. A lot of people in my circle are just more closed-minded and have only experienced this little bubble next to St. Louis, Missouri, and small towns in Illinois, and they're just very judgmental when anybody wants to travel or do something out of their ordinary. When it comes to family, my family and I have no issues. It's not like there was some kind of falling out or something, or that they disowned me. I've just always been a very independent person. Even since when I was a baby, I didn't want to be held. I wanted to be down, doing my thing. I've just always been like that. I consider it a compliment to my family that I'm making this step and moving abroad away from them, that they did a good job, that they instilled confidence in me, that they taught me responsibility to be able to want or be able to do this. I don't know, I've just never been the type to need to call mom and dad every day or every week. Again, I don't have any issues with them, it's just I'm super independent. I will say yes, I'll miss my niece and nephews. I have 3 nephews and 1 niece. I honestly don't see them a lot while I'm living here. They just have a lot of activities that they're involved in, and I have a lot on my plate with all of my side hustles. And it's not that I don't love them, I do. It's just lives are busy here, and that's part of the reason why I'm moving to Mexico, to get rid of all of the stress. And up until recently, I've had a lot of health issues, so most of the time when I've been around my niece and nephews, I've just been so exhausted. Like, I'm just trying to keep myself awake during their birthday party or whatever the case might be, where I really haven't played with them very. I know that sounds horrible, but it's just taken me every ounce of energy to get through the day most of the time. I've finally been feeling better, but again, we're both just so busy. Let's go to the comments I've only received once or twice from YouTube trolls, not even from my channel, but just me leaving comments on other channels that I'm moving to Mexico or whatever the case might be. One of them is, "You're not retiring early, that's not even possible." I most definitely am. I've already made one video about how I'm retiring before I'm 40, and I was thinking about doing an update on that video because some things have changed since then. If you're interested in seeing that, please leave me a comment below, and I'll try to get that out within the next month. Another YouTube comment I've only gotten once or twice is, "Do you even know anyone in Mexico?" Yes, I do. Do I know anyone in the town or city I'm moving to? I mean, now I do. The neighbor across the street from me. I've text messaged the neighbor that's going to be building to my side. And I've talked to the neighbor that claims to own the land behind me. Update on that coming soon. I cannot talk about it for the moment until something has been resolved. However, I do have a few friends in my new capital city, Pachuca, which is near where I'm going to be living. I have my ex-husband's family that is in the same state a few hours away. I have a few friends in Mexico City and a few friends in Guadalajara. Actually, I think one of my friends from Guadalajara moved to the Yucatan Peninsula. But yes, they're kind of spread out throughout Mexico, but I have friends. I find it easy to make friends there. I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, I'm very independent. As long as I have my dogs and my little place I can go home to, I'm happy. Before we go back to frequently asked questions, we have one more that's just been asked once or twice, and that is, don't you know it's different living in Mexico versus just going on vacation? This person obviously doesn't know me very well. I have been to Mexico more times than I can count. And I have never gone to your typical touristy areas. I have never gone to Cancun. I've never gone to Playa del Carmen. Anything beach related, I have avoided except for Acapulco. Anything I've done that can be considered touristy is either A, Mexico City, which is so huge that you don't feel like that concentration of tourists, even though there are many, like you still feel like you're among the Mexican people, or B, touristy things that Mexicans do, not international folk. Anytime I've done anything in Mexico, I'm with local people. I have never hung out with other Americans while in Mexico. If so, briefly, but my day-to-day stuff I do there is with the local people, going into their homes, sharing their experiences, doing their activities. I have lived in Mexico with my ex-husband's family. I've gone to many Mexican homes. I have experienced it all. I have taken a bath, what is called a jicarazos, meaning you scoop water out of a bucket to bathe yourself. I have made tortillas by hand. I have experienced the whole range of things that Mexico has to offer. But no, I didn't just go to Cancun for a week and say, hey, I'm moving to Mexico. Like, I've lived with the Mexican people in small towns doing daily stuff. Like a lot of the times, it would just be me hanging out with my now ex-mother-in-law at her restaurant, or me just hanging out at my Airbnb, taking care of business. It's not just me doing tours. I don't have that kind of money. Okay, back to the very common questions. Oh, that's neat, but I couldn't deal with the heat. Okay, yes, there are places that are warm to hot in Mexico, but if you saw about 3 videos ago, I talked about the climate, okay? There are many areas in Mexico where it's like spring year-round. I'll be living in one of those places. Check out the picture on the screen. Does it look like I'm going to be suffering? The max, 80 degrees. The low, I don't have the picture in front of me right now, but I believe it was 45, 50, the low, year-round. Does that not sound just perfect? So no, I'm not going to be freezing. There's not going to be snow. No, I'm not going to be melting. It is going to be perfect, just perfect. I already am looking at a windbreaker jacket because the thing there is when it is chilly, it's the cold wind coming off of the mountains. So yeah, a hoodie is like the appropriate thickness, but the wind comes through it. So if you just have a windbreaker that's like lightly lined, it's like perfect. 2 more questions to go. Oh, that sounds fun, but I'm not that adventurous. You know what? I don't think I am either. I suffer from anxiety. Like, before I got on anxiety medication, I would literally get sick just going to work, and I go there every single day. I've been going there every single day for the past 15 years. So yes, when I get on a plane and go somewhere internationally, especially if I'm going somewhere new, I feel sick to my stomach. Not as bad as I used to, again, probably because of the medication, but I don't know, like, it's just what I want to do, so I make myself do it. So I wouldn't consider myself to be adventurous either, but I am. I don't consider myself to be adventurous, but I guess from some other people's perspective, I mean, I'm not going to be bungee jumping or jumping out of an airplane. I guess this is my equivalent to that. I know you guys haven't seen much of my travels on this channel. They're all over on my Spanish channel, but there's a reason why they're all in Mexico or Spanish-speaking country, the US, with the exception being Italy this past summer. Because if I were to go somewhere where I don't speak the language, I would be terrified, especially going alone. Like, what happens if there's an emergency and I'm in China? I wouldn't know what to do. But by me speaking the language, I just feel very comfortable. I do speak enough Italian to get by for touristy reasons, so I felt comfortable. And I can especially understand them when they speak to me because it's so similar to Spanish. So that didn't make me as nervous. But yeah, I was definitely having some anxiety because it was my first time there. The moral of the story being, if I were to let my anxiety get the best of me, I would probably not leave home unless I really had to. And the last question I get often in regards to retiring early, not necessarily the Mexico part, is, aren't you going to get bored? No, okay? I'm basing this next comment after the shallow men I have seen on Tinder, okay? Based on Tinder, average American, hobbies, hang out with friends, watch TV. And then there's Jenny, taking Italian lessons, taking Hebrew lessons, has books to pick up with Hindi lessons and Otomi, which is the indigenous language of the area I'm moving to. So I'll pick those up once I've actually moved. Plays several instruments, has written a novel and is going to be writing more once she has moved and has the time, writes other resources for language teachers, plays with her dogs. Now that I sold my house, I can no longer foster dogs, but once I move, I am most definitely going to volunteer for an animal rescue. I'm going to be able to cook my food. Honestly, my diet has been garbage lately because I have bit off more than I can chew. I currently have 4 jobs, but knowing it's temporary, I'm just getting through it. It is what it is. It's just temporary. So I'm excited to have the time to cook wholesome meals. And then if you aren't aware, in Mexico, everything takes like 3 times as long to get done. Like in the US, you go to Walmart, you get everything done. You can get your hair cut there, you can change your oil there, you get your groceries, you get your crafts, you get your home decor all in one spot. In Mexico, it's more like going from spot to spot to spot to spot. If you need to get something taken care of at the town hall, you might have to go there 3 times, where in the US, you might have to go once to get it taken care of. Like everything is just more laid back, a slower process, so that's going to eat up more of my time as well. Even something as simple as going to the bank in Mexico might take very long compared to like the 2 minutes it takes you in the US. So yes, I have plenty of things to fill up my time. I haven't even mentioned like going dancing. I haven't done that in a long time. But I'm a very curious person. I love to learn, so this will not be a problem for me. No, I'm not just going to be sitting at home watching Netflix all day. So there you have it, the questions that I get asked when I tell people that I'm moving to Mexico and or retiring early. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to continue following me in my journey in moving from the US to Mexico, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Take care, see you next time.